practically nothing on the planet in the cattle industry can grow like a Charolais, a good Charolais. Just there's nothing to touch it. There's no perfect breed. There isn't, and I'm the first to put my hand up about that. But there is nothing quite like a Charolais, to be fair.
One of the things that the government has recognized as a critical sector for transforming the economy is agriculture. Now, if you look at the total picture about cattle, there are a number of issues like water, like grasses, but importantly, it is the breed. So today we bring you someone who's going to be looking at his favorite breed that he's been on it for almost over 50 years. So Clive, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's a saying, the best breed for you is the one you like the most. And the reason they say that is because obviously if you really enjoy something, you like something, you're going to put the max amount of effort into it. And it really, really is an awful lot of effort if you're going to do this job properly.
Namibians, the Zimbabweans, and the South Africans that you managed to export to, what are they looking for? I
think they're looking for something they can't find locally. That's what my opinion must be, and that it's from bloodlines that other people haven't got. Number two, the cattle are good, and then the purity of the genes means they breed very, very true to type. I always say a national herd is like an oil tanker. Once it sets its course, it's very, very difficult and slow to turn it because you're working with an organic product, right? It's a genetic product. It's not something you can change overnight. I'm not very positive, I must be honest with you, I'm not very positive that the herd in this current structure has the ability to get back to 4 million cattle. I don't think it can. The only way I can see it getting back to those kind of numbers is to put in a lot of fenced farms, drill a lot of boreholes, and kill a lot of bush. I'm passionate about this sector, always have been. And to watch it go through what it's going through is painful.
Welcome to the GrowthWell Podcast, where we tap into a well of knowledge, innovation, and leadership to fuel Africa's growth. Here, we explore thought-provoking insights and expert knowledge that empower individuals and businesses to thrive across the continent. Whether it's personal development or professional advancement, our conversations inspire action and impact. This is GrowthWell, where ideas flow and growth begins. Let's dive in.
Here we are again. I have hosted some guests here who were experts in the economy. And as you may be aware, Botswana is going quite through some tough times in terms of the economy. And one can say Botswana is going through some crossroads, an inflection point, whatever word you want to use. But the country, the government, they're busy trying to cook some level of transformation where we can put our economy back in line. And one of the things that the government has recognized as a critical sector for transforming the economy is agriculture. And that is why we'll keep bringing you more and more on agriculture. And agriculture, particularly because Botswana has not been performing very well in agriculture. There's been a lot of saying, if the president has said it, how the national numbers have dropped. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Now, if you look at the total picture about cattle, there are a number of issues like water, like grasses, but importantly, it is the breed. So today we bring you someone who's going to be looking at his favorite breed that he's been on it for almost over 50 years. So keep attention and let's see how a particular breed can contribute to this transformation that we're talking about. So welcome to the GrowthWell Podcast. So Clive, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And we've been talking about agriculture for quite a while. I'm sure you've seen Rudy has been here. We talked about Leonard and stuff like that. So the whole aspect is really, and we've received very good feedback, especially as I told you from youngsters who are saying they are looking at agriculture now from a different perspective. So a person like you who's been in the game for so many years will be very valuable adding to all the knowledge here. So thank you very much for making the time.
No, it's only a pleasure.
Yeah,
only a pleasure.
Yeah. So Clive, we like starting on a bit of a light note. And I just like to say, you came to Botswana quite some years ago. And I remember the first time I saw you, you're working at Harvard's at the time. And I started quite late. It was quite clear about when to start because I wanted to get my career first and thereafter go into cattle because, it's a heritage thing of my family where my grandfather was a farmer. So the first time I saw was when I was buying some heifers at Sunnyside.
Oh, right.
Those LF7.
Okay. Good brand.
2008.
Yeah, it was a very good brand.
You remember?
Yeah.
So that's the first time I started accumulating. At that time I was in communal and Barolong area, so I just collecting some. So it's been quite a journey for you in Botswana, coming from the UK. So and now you've got your farm now, which is a really beautiful thing that you can secure the farm. But I just like to know who's Clive besides the farming that we'll talk about. In terms of family man, a gentleman. Can you talk to us about who Clive is?
Yeah, look, I'm a cattleman. I've always been a cattleman ever since I can remember. Married to Michelle, got one son, Fraser, who's running our piggery operation at the moment. He's doing a great job there. But that's really it. My whole life has been cattle from a very early age. Educated in London, not a lot of cows.
I can imagine.
So I started working. It's
not like Gabs where you see cows everywhere.
No. I can remember Gaborone when I first arrived in Gaborone. I knew I was at the right place when I got to the first circle and I saw a cow carving on the circle.
That's my town.
She was carving on the circle. I thought, this is my place. So came out of London, 16, started working. My first job, strange enough, was with the limousine cattle. And then moved into Charolais, where I'd always loved Charolais cattle, but it took me till I was 17 to actually start working with them. And then worked in the UK till 85. 85, I was offered a job in South Africa, moved to the Cape, met my wife.
Okay.
Got married, then moved to the Northern Cape, the far Northern Cape. Ran a big operation there, very big operation. It was like 5 breeds, Charolais Limousin, Brangus, red and white Brahman.
Okay. Was it in the Karoo?
No, far Northern Cape. It was in. It's now northwest. It was in Bray area. It's just on the other side of the border.
Molopo area.
Yeah. So I was in Molopo area for there for 3 years, and then 1993, I was at the Rand show, and the CEO of Herbert's Group came along and said, saw we'd won a hell of a lot with the Charolais, and he said, no, you must come to Botswana. So that's how I ended up here in 1993. So then I was ranching manager at Herbert's for 7 years, and then I was general manager for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it was just commercial then?
No. One of the things about the stud is that the initial herd I came to work with in 1985, before it was sold, my father-in-law said he would like to buy the 10 best cows. He owned the herd. He actually owned the herd. And he said he'd like to keep the best 10 cows, which we did. The operation was subsequently sold. Those cows then moved with me to the Northern Cape.
Okay.
And when that herd was dispersed in 1993, I moved to Botswana and I bought those cows to start the original Herbert's herd, which I subsequently bought in 2007. So I actually have managed to own my life's work because I managed to bring that genetics all the way from 1985 all the way through to the present day. So I can trace the genetics back 40 years.
Wow. And the decision when you were there to buy the 10 cows, the Charolais, you were the influencer.
Yeah, well, I was the general manager. I was the manager of the herd.
Yes.
So I knew which were the best cows, yes, obviously.
Okay.
And that's how it started. And they moved with me all the way to Botswana eventually. And then obviously they passed away long ago, those cows, but their blood is still in the herd, running through the herd. So it's 40 years of genetics, the Marshall Charolais brand. Which is a fair time, I believe.
It's a fair time, but it's quite important because, when we were allocated the Banyana farms, as you're aware, with other farmers, like we talked about Philip earlier on, there's this where they gave us a very short period of time for the leases. And one of the battles we had with them was that to build genetics takes a long time. We had to really educate them.
It takes a phenomenal length of time.
It takes a long time. And that's something that, as I told you earlier, these are the things that, a person like yourself, a person like Rudy, we got to keep educating people because even the lawyer that was involved at the time, we had to say, no, it doesn't work. He was comparing us to a tourism site in Okavango. It's like cheap.
Yeah, no, I think you have to have done it to understand it. It's not a one-day game.
Absolutely.
This is a very long-term project, and you're continually trying to improve. You don't always make it. Sometimes you don't improve, and then you have to go back to the drawing board and try again. But it's the trying again, which is the entertaining and the exciting part. It is, as long as you can take it financially, it's not so bad. It gives you a good lesson.
So from Sussex to the Kalahari, how does that work out?
Well, it's a long way.
To the scorching sun.
As I said earlier, I was educated in London.
Yeah.
When all my mates at school were going to watch Crystal Palace on the weekends, I was going off into the farms and going to look at bull sales and shows and stuff like that. Subsequently, I was a complete and utter nerd at school. I mean, you can imagine, it was... I was the only guy in the school that actually had any inclination to be a cattleman out of 800 guys. So it was...
And 16 years old.
Yeah, when I left school, I was 16. Wanted to go to agriculture college, but London Borough of Croydon just had no money for it. Simple as that. So I ended up doing it the hard way, as it were, from the very beginning. So first job I was 16 and a half, first job with limousines. Then after that, I was very, very fortunate. When I was about 17, my first job with Charolais, I was very fortunate to work with a very, very good cattleman. Excellent guy. A guy called Gordon Rugg.
Okay.
And that was my university, as it were. He taught me everything.
Yeah, mentorship and coaching you and showing you how it's done.
Yeah, very much. No, he was an excellent guy. And then from there you go through, it's like an unwritten apprenticeship in the UK. You build your way up, and then you get offered a job as a head stockman, and you go to that job, and then you get a better job, you get offered another one. And by the time I was 21, I was running a herds at 21, which is very young. It's probably too young, actually, when I look back. But that 22, then at 23, I was restless. I wanted to see the world a bit, and I was offered a job. I was firstly offered a job in the US.
Okay.
And I turned it down. And then I was offered a job in South Africa. And, I was ready, and I thought, why not? It was a big herd. It was 200 cows, Charolais cows, the biggest at that stage in the herd book. And the people were very excited about the whole thing, and it went very, very well. So, and then, as I say, eventually it was sold out, and I then moved to the Northern Cape. And that's where I think I did a lot of learning about, the Cape. I always say it's Africa light. It's not really like, we're used to in the Kalahari and stuff. It's very
green eyes,
but then you move up here and you start to see cattle in a different light. You start to see that they have to perform in really, really hard conditions. And your selection of animals is very different. When you were standing knee deep in clover and grass, and then you move up to the Kalahari and it's just...
There's nothing in the wind-tide.
You tend to change your view on the type of animal you have to breed. And I think that's been a key, I think, to any success we've had, which we've been fortunate to have, I think has been due to the fact that the animals are and have been for decades been bred in the Kalahari, and your selection pressure to that environment is very important to have animals that are acclimatized to the conditions that we get in Botswana. Cattle have changed over the last 25, 30 years. I mean, they've really changed from the big frame Charolais to a totally different Charolais. So it's been important to work in this environment to understand what it requires.
Okay, and that brings us to the big question of exactly what you had started. Why the Charolais? Why the Charolais? And I'm asking the question, there are two aspects of this. There's a technical aspect of the Charolais, and then there's a hearty part of the...
Which do you want to start with? The hearty part.
The hearty part,
The hearty part goes back to when I was a kid, really, to be honest with you. I used to go to the shows in the UK, and I would sit on the box there and talk to the cattlemen, and the Charolais were always the the highlight, the biggest cattle. They always impressed you the most. So from the heart, that was the reason for it. From practicality, and I've said this before on certain interviews and stuff, but practically nothing on the planet in the cattle industry can grow like a Charolais, a good Charolais. Just there's nothing to touch it. And I've worked with a lot of breeds. I've worked with Lims, Blonde Aquitaines, Chianinas, Simmentals. I've worked with a lot of European cattle. And
Limos have relatively also quite good ADGs.
Very good. So Simmies. They have, of course, and a good Simmy is a great animal and a good Lim is a great animal. But I'm talking about on an average basis.
I'm with you.
A proper Charolais, there's nothing quite like it to touch it.
Is that what attracted you in terms of
commercially?
You want
to have an animal that can perform. You want to have an animal that can really motor. When things are tough like they are at the moment, you need to have cattle that can really grow. And turn food into money. That's what you really need. There's no perfect breed. There isn't. And I'm the first to put my hand up about that. But in its correct position in the beef production chain, as it were, there is nothing quite like a Charolais, to be fair, if it's used in its correct position. But every breed, I'm a firm believer that every breed had a reason to be developed.
Quality,
had a reason to be developed,
and you can actually do genetic engineering and manipulate it to fit.
Of course, I'm the first one to put my hand up, and I've said this many times to many guys, including Leonard, I think, the other day, and I just said, that guys, the Brahman cattle are better than me. I can't breed Brahman cattle.
Is it?
No, I can't.
From a temperament or from what?
No. I think there are guys that have an eye for Indicus and how Indicus type is bred, and guys that are good with Taurus cattle. I don't see many people that are good with Indicus and Taurus cattle.
Both of them,
I don't see it, I think I can breed European Taurus cattle probably as good as just about anybody, in the industry.
Yeah.
But your British Taurus cattle, I probably wouldn't be very successful, and definitely with the Indicus cattle, I wasn't successful. So you got to concentrate on what you're good at, and that's something that it's I believe that play to your strengths, basically. That's what I'm saying as far as breeding is concerned.
Okay, we'll get to the details of the breed itself, but before we go there. You've had recent accolades around the Charolais. Also some key milestones with regard to the export. Record price that you achieved. Was it early this year with Son of My Love?
June, yeah.
Yeah, June, yeah. And but importantly, which I had, that I've bought some Charolais from you before in terms of using them. I still have quite a good crop of it. But in the end, you've also won some prizes with the Agricultural Research Council in South Africa for quite a number of years. Just tell us about those accolades that you've...
Yeah, look,
sometimes it's nice to be recognized.
Yeah, thank you very much. Being here is being recognized. Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it. But it's, to be registered with the South African Society, you have to be a member of ARC. You have to be registered with the ARC, the Agricultural Research Council. Therefore, every animal has to have weight at birth, every animal has to be weighed at weaning, every animal has to be weighed at yearling, etc., etc. All that information is put into a thing called Logix, and Logix then pumps out the EBVs. Yeah. So over the years, the herd, as it were, twice, I think, when I was with Herwitz and twice after that, the herd has been recognized for having the highest performing cow in the entire breed for a particular year. So that's based on number of calves.
In the entire breed?
In the entire breed,
yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that's then recognized by the number of calves she's produced and the performance of those calves, each one of them, and her intercalving period, and all these factors are put into the mix, as it were. And we've won it on 4 occasions, which, no no other herd of any breed in Botswana has, I think, won it. I don't think they've ever won it once. But so to have won it 4 times, to win it 4 times is very, very special, and very, very proud of it, to be honest with you, for Botswana as well.
Absolutely. No, we're proud. I mean, you're talking over 10 years, isn't it? I used to page through weekly. I was like, and then you feel like, you know,
no, it's been
we're part of it.
But it's and these are cattle that are born in Botswana, they're bred in Botswana, they perform in Botswana, you know. At the moment, the latest, the winner of the latest cow, 1143, she's at my house in a flushing program. We're busy taking embryos and stuff out of her using different bulls, etc. We want to magnify those genetics. But, you know, these cows have performed here, you know, in the Kalahari, in Botswana, in tough conditions, they've performed. So to take this SA guys on and beat them is significant. It's significant for us. It's significant for us, and we're very proud of that. We really are. On the sales side,
before we go into sales, there are 2 aspects. And again, I like, you know, one thing about ARC is that I just become a bit jealous that we don't have our own ARC.
It would be nice. Yes, it would be nice.
So I just wanted your advice around how such infrastructure can also be emulated on the Botswana side. That's one. The other one is the again, we'll talk about it when you talk about the breed, but you know, you always think, especially your Charolais, some of those cows are like 14, 15 years old.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I've seen that. And you're like, Charolais cow, you know, some of them is not really small frame in the past. I've seen some of them.
Very much so.
And it's like huge. They're still gone for many years. So just talk about those 2 issues. First, the ARC side in terms of just infrastructure to get Botswana at that same level. And I think Namibia, South Africa are probably at the same par, and we are a bit behind, and how that is valuable to have such infrastructure. And then, the cow in terms of the longevity and...
Look, I mean, I think you must take into account the ARC and bodies like that in South Africa were formed a very, very long time ago.
I know.
A very long time ago.
I know.
You know, they are funded. They're part of, based on their institutional, you know, they're part of the cattle institution, as it were. So to start it out, I always look at the example of the Bonsmara. I mean, the Bonsmara, the amount of money that must have been spent in the development of the Bonsmara, I don't know if you could replicate it today. I really don't, with the financial constraints of
that we have
all over, not just here. I'm talking about all over.
Okay.
To replicate that development cost is not achievable, I don't think, today. A Logix or ARC type body, I mean, we've got Ministry of Agriculture, of course we have, and DVS, we've got the structure there. It's just maybe apportioning a part of it to develop this side of it. I think it's achievable. I don't think it's something that's not doable, but all these things these days, unfortunately, cost money. And
they can collaborate as well. They don't have to start from scratch. I mean, that's our neighbor, for God's sake.
They can use the base.
They can use the same base.
Yeah. No, it could be done, I'm sure.
Yeah. And the cow?
Yeah, look, I mean, the cow, and you're absolutely spot on. I mean, when I came in 93 to Botswana, you know, we were breeding a very different type of Charolais. You know, the Botswana conditions changed the way that I think about the cattle, think about the breed, the bulls that I look towards. You know, you've got to look at the frame size. You mustn't have them too big. Just can't. You know, there was a period in the breed from say early 80s until mid 90s. You know, where frame score was everything. Everything had to be the bigger, the better.
Yeah.
And that was the genetics that was around at the time, and you wouldn't say forced into using it, but you were using it. It was in vogue, as they say.
Yeah.
And that genetic was coming in, but the cattle were difficult. Yeah, they were hard. Yeah. So we brought them down in size significantly over the period, but we've without a doubt we've improved the muscling.
Yeah.
We've improved the mobility of the cattle. Those are characteristics which the Charolais, the muscling obviously should have. And the growth rate. Yeah, these big cattle do grow, there's no question about it, but you can get the same growth rate out of cattle which are not the same. They're not massive, tall, slabby cattle. You can get the same growth rate out of them. A slightly earlier maturing, yes. You're not going to feed them until they're 2.5 years old, but who wants to feed cattle for 2.5 years anyway? So, no, you're going to be finishing them a lot earlier. But hopefully with the ADG, you concentrate a lot on the ADG. And what we call percentage growth is the most important part. It's growing the growth rate in relation to its induction weight is the percentage growth, which is the most important part. So we look for those factors. But as I say, the cow over there, she sold a bull in the auction. Her son sold for $230,000. Her son. So she's a breeder as well. She's not just a functioning cow. She's also a productive cow as far as sales are concerned as well. And she's done very well. She's actually the grandmother of another bull I sold for $230,000.
Nice.
So she's got it in. She's got it in her to do that. So what we're trying to do now is flush her to bulls that we know work with her to magnify her stamp on the herd. She'll probably go another couple of flushes. She's very healthy.
Oh, she's very healthy.
Oh, very healthy.
How old now?
14.
14.
She's very healthy and very mobile and very active.
Okay.
But her last days will be spent flushing. I don't know, you probably find as well in the Kalahari that, these old cows, that last calf, you're actually not doing her a favour.
That's true.
You're not doing her a favour. It's better to take her 1 year early and let her go, So obviously we're feeding her to keep her in good shape.
That's what I'm thinking, that you must be looking after her.
Absolutely. She probably hasn't got a tooth in the head now, but she's still there. She's still very active and very mobile, and we'll flush her until it's not right to flush her anymore.
Okay. Commercial side, in terms of your...
Commercially, we run what we call a flying herd. A flying herd is a principle...
Sorry, commercial, I mean in terms of your sales, in terms of the stuff that you have here, so the export and being able to, for the first time, export to.
We're not alone in this, in that I think Botswana stud breeders, in general, of any breed, are concentrating on trying to make themselves saleable, in that they want to give to the market something which is bordering on unique. You know what I'm saying? If I look at the amount of effort, say Wayside and Leonard and these guys are going to get genetics in, and Tolo and Grandin and these guys, listen, all these guys, they're bringing in semen, bringing in embryos at times or whatever, I think as well. But and obviously Ledwood and these guys.
And his big bull there.
Outstanding. That's
what we
shows what the guys are prepared to put into the breed. So, everybody's looking for something that is relatively unique, with the view of offering the best possible product to the Botswana, and then B, maybe catching the eye of the SADC countries. And that has played for ourselves and others, it's not just us, it's played a big role in that. A few years ago, we identified a bull, brought the semen in, started working embryo, and then inseminating, etc. Calves came along, and we filtered them into the market and advertised it. And it was something different, South Africa, the South African herd, Namibian herd, couldn't get hold of that bull. The fact that, as I say, the herd is 40 years old, it's a full French herd, and it's something that a lot of people don't recognize, but it is extremely important. The Charolais breed is recognized from its base in France, okay? So to maintain a herd as what they call full French, it means that you've never used a bull from outside of the herd book that has been infused with another breed, okay? So you're breeding with pure Charolais genetics, okay? And we've only ever used bulls from France, UK, and Ireland, and all three of those countries are full French.
Okay.
Other breeders have, for whatever the reason they want to do it, is they've used bulls, like the Americans, for instance, American, Canadian, Australian, even New Zealand to a certain extent, have infused the breed at times to bring in a certain characteristic.
Element,
a certain phenotype, a certain fin. So in order to take the horns off, they would infuse Angus. Back in the 70s, 80s, when they were trying to get them bigger, they gave in Chianina and this kind of thing. So the breed was infused with other breeds in order to get a certain trait. If you're a full French breeder, you can't do that. you have to do
it within
from
the
phenotypes, the phenotypes within the herd book.
Okay.
You have to use that. And that's the basis. So at the 40 years, you know that the herd is very, very pure as far as Charolais is concerned. Yeah.
So what are the Namibians, the Zimbabweans, and the South Africans that you manage to export to with very good prices? What are they looking for? Are they
I think they're looking for something they can't find locally. That's what my opinion must be. And the fact that we have a product that on the continent is unique in the fact that it's from bloodlines that other people haven't got. Number one. Number two, the cattle are good, and they look the part. And then the purity of the genes means they breed very, very true to type. And that's really, I think, the selling point, I think. I think a lot of guys are looking for more weight in their calves without increasing frame score, etc. They were looking for thicker cattle. And this particular bull that we brought in, he did that.
My love,
he did that. He definitely thickens them out, and also improves the breed character. You want to have bulls that look like bulls and females that look like females. You want bulls with big noses and good eye bank and that kind of thing. You want bulls that look rugged.
Testosterone, rugged.
Rugged. Of course, you want rugged looking cattle.
That's the way. I was going to say it looks like a real man.
Masculine.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, of course. And my love is doing that. Consistently he does that. It's what you follow him with now. That's the next game. Of course, you've got to find another bull, and that's the exciting
thing.
Game. That's the exciting part. Yeah.
I don't know, Clive, but I don't know. You realize what you're doing. I mean, this in terms of exporting and the technology that you apply from a genetics point of view, and like you said, you have a 40-year history of working with this herd. It's for me, it's a real big deal. It's a real big deal, especially when there's an opportunity to export. I mean, this is from a broader picture. This country has always battled to export, but the fact that you can, the manga guys can, and others also breaking into it. And the guy we talked about, guys like Leonard also importing good semen. So I think it's a breakthrough. And I wanted to ask you, did we benefit from South Africa closing borders? Do you think that was also part of the kickstart? Because everybody used to just go and buy from South Africa.
Listen, there's no question. There's no question about it. It was a positive and it was a negative. It was a positive in the fact that obviously the bull market became reduced. So it allowed the internal stud breeders to see the opportunity and spend and put more money into it. There was that factor, but on a negative is the fact that South Africa's got an awful lot of good genetics, which is no longer available to us. I'm not so much from my side. I tend to go overseas for my genetics, certainly in the Simmental breed. South Africa's got some fantastic cattle. And Bonsmaras, some fantastic cattle.
They have got very deep at Bonsmara.
That's been cut off, and that's a negative for the sector without a doubt. But yes, it would be silly to say it wasn't a factor. It is a factor. The reason a lot of the guys are stepping up now and putting more money into the stud breeding is the fact that there is good demand from the Botswana for bulls, and they're wanting quality. They've always been prepared to pay for the good ones. It's a fact. They always have been.
They have.
And they appreciate quality cattle. They always have done.
Let's home on to the breed itself now. And you'll be aware that, and I like us to, people are quite, like talking to other breeders. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the other breeders because they might not take it well. There's always that thing. But in the end, science has to prevail. Science in terms of the proof should be in the eating, as the English people say. So you've talked about muscling. You've talked about, ADG. And I've proved this. I've put the Charolais bulls on our Simbra crowd, and you can see it. You can see performing in the field.
Rolls-Royce calf.
Rolls-Royce calf. Yeah.
Shout out to Simbra.
It's powerful, isn't it? Yeah. So what? And the big thing about the exotic breeds and the debate is what is the right breed for Botswana. And there's a school that says your Charolais, your Simmentals, your what are probably not suitable. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned, mobility in terms of walking, in terms of, the skin, and also in terms of the size and the frames. So and in Botswana, we've got, the majority are in communal. So talk about the breed traits. I know some of them you've manipulated over the 40 years to see how does that fit onto a communal or commercial farmer in terms of improving their profitability.
Look, the Charolais that we breed, okay, number one, we never use a bull that is not positive for milk on his EBVs. That's we just never do it.
Okay.
The reason we do that is traditionally the breed had an issue with milk.
With milk, yeah.
Yeah. So we know that a lot of guys are going to keep the female. They're going to use it either communally or they're going to use it in a 3-way rotation, like you said before, the Simbra, Charolais, Brahman, 3-breed rotation. They will keep the Charolais cross female. And the Charolais, therefore, has got to bring more to it than just the growth rate. So we will never keep a bull never use a bull that's negative for milk. You've got to look at the birth weight. You've got to look at the calving ease, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a direct correlation between birth weight and weaning weight. It's a direct correlation. The issue of birth weight has always been a big sticking point on the Charolais. Always say, oh, yeah, but look at the birth weight. Look at the birth weight. And absolutely, because years back, some of the French cattle that came into South Africa back in the day and probably into Botswana they were rough. They were real killers, huh? But you've got, if you keep reducing birth weight, your weaning weight follows. It just starts reducing, okay? Because it's a correlation.
Yeah.
There's 3 phenotypes of cattle. There's height, there's width, and there's length. You increase an animal's height and you increase an animal's width, you're going to get calving issues.
Yeah.
If you increase an animal's length, doesn't mean to say you're going to get any calving issues. So if you can have a high birth weight, but you phenotypically, you take the shoulders off the animal, you increase its length and good back muscling and great hind quarter, you carry the birth weight phenotypically along its body, you then can maintain your high weaning weights.
Weaning weight, yeah.
And that's really what we try to do. That's our way of looking at it, because we know the bulls are going to go into the Kalahari. We know some of them probably end up serving heifers and stuff like that,
exactly.
which we don't recommend.
Yeah,
we never recommend serving heifers with Charolais. It's a large frame European breed.
Absolutely.
Period.
You're going to have issues.
It is. You can always have issues.
Yeah, especially where people still have Botswana breeds.
Of course, the communal structure where you can't separate.
Yeah.
It's very, 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 very problematic it could be, So we try and keep the birth weights reasonable, but we try and produce bulls with length. And that's, if you can carry the birth weight along the length of the animal, then you can maintain the high weaning weight. Because at the end of the day, the growth is, if any breed has, and I say no breed is the be-all and end-all, but every breed has a selling point. The Charolais' selling point is its growth rate.
It's growth.
Yeah, and its feed conversion. Those are the selling points of the Charolais.
You published recently ADG of 4.94. I was like, what's Clive smoking there when he was weighing?
No, I didn't weigh it. My guys weighed it. So my guys, it was a group.
Really?
Really. It's a group of bulls we brought in for the auction coming up in November. We got an auction on the 8th of November.
Yeah.
And this particular bull, he's a full brother to a bull called Tank.
Tank, yeah.
Now, Tank is a bull who had unbelievable numbers. He's a 4-star bull, which is very rare in the Charolais, but he's a 4-star sire. But he broke his leg when he was about 15 months old, and I couldn't sell the bull because he wasn't sound.
Yeah.
Subsequently, the bulls now come sound, 95% sound. So I've retained him now to use as a cleanup for the herd.
Okay.
Anyway, his name's Mega. This bull's, he's a full brother to Tank. And that's genuine, that weight. But remember, you must also remember, that's a dry weight to 45 days. Okay, it's a dry weight. They all came in dry. They were all weighed.
Okay.
And then from there to 45 days, he performed at 4.94.
Yeah.
But he's still running well over 3 kilo a day now.
Wow.
And he's into 90 days nearly. You know, I think he's 3.7 or something like that. So, yeah, it's exceptional growth
That's
rate.
exceptional. That's a
but
really
he's
exceptional.
He's an exceptional animal.
Yeah.
You know, it's they don't all do that. But but he's got the breeding behind him as well. His mother, she's the mother of Tank. She'll be coming into the embryo program probably next year. She'll be coming in and we'll start flushing embryos. I'm keeping back some My Love semen just for her because it's running short now. You can't get any more. It's all dried up in France. There's none left. So I've just kept a bit back for her. Yeah. So but she's a good breeder. She's also a 4-star cow as well. So yeah.
Okay. But the essence of the ADG is that in the end, it's growth,
of course,
and muscularity,
and
then the debate about using it in communal. How best should a commercial farmer or a communal farmer use a top bull from MCS? What's the best way of using it?
The best way to use it is, if you can, is to hand serve. And that's I would recommend that to any bull of any breed that you spend good money on. You know, it's like you know, you buy yourself a Mercedes and you leave it under a tree. You know, or you buy yourself a Honda Fit and you leave it under a tree. You know, it's, if you're spending that kind of money and you want to get the most out of it, if you can do hand serving, which a lot of guys can do. You know, you keep the calves in the kraal. Cows go out to graze, they come back every night, and you can hand serve. Firstly, the bull would probably do 40, 50, 60 cows in a season, whereas if you let him go, he's probably going to do 20 of yours and 20 of the neighbours. You know, do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
So it's advisable, if you spend a lot of money and you want to get something out of the bull, look after the bull.
And I think some guys do that, isn't it? They have a fenced area and they fence it a little bit and they look
and more
after
and more
it.
guys are doing that.
Okay.
And that's great. That's great. And on a crossbreeding program, you know, you're in a commercial farm, your Charolais bull in a 3-way cross is a very good breed, you know, but you need a slightly different bull maybe, because remember you also want to use the female traits. So you need a bull, slightly longer neck, a little bit flatter, but you'll still get the growth rate out of him, or decent growth rate. And then in another way, the way we run it is we mate the entire herd to Charolais. We then market the male and the female calves into the feedlot. Okay. And then we purchase pregnant heifers in. Okay. I've just bought in a group of about 50 from Radmar, from Pretorius in Molopo. Okay. Beautiful cattle, Simbra type cattle.
Simbra,
certified pregnant. They come in, they calve, they all get mated with a Charolais, and I wean all the calves into the feedlot. And the empty cows, and then I go and get more heifers again.
Oh, beautiful,
So that's what I call a flying herd principle. Okay. That way you're getting 100% of the available hybrid vigor. And for that job, you need a thicker type of bull, because you're using the growth and the masculinity, the terminal characteristics. Terminal characteristics as against the, I wouldn't say dual purpose characteristics, because they're not. But you know, you want a slightly flatter Charolais for that 3-way cross, and you're also very positive for milk, because he's got to contribute into that 3-way.
Just say a little bit, and sorry to dwell on it. This is purely because, again, just to educate people around the power of the hybrid vigor, why it's also quite important. And I'm saying this because some people, even if it's commercial, they think, you know, running with the same type of, on a commercial basis or same animal, and they miss the opportunity around what is the power of the hybrid vigor.
Well, the hybrid vigor is the one tool. Well, there's two main tools that you can use in beef production. One is obviously heterosis and hybrid vigor, and the other one is breed complementarity. Breed complementarity is like, I always think the best example is a Simmental and a Brahman. You've got two breeds that complement each other's strengths. In other words, Simmental, you know, it's got size, it's got milk. It's got growth rate, and the Brahman's got, you know, it's got tick resistance and heat tolerance and mothering ability and easy carving and all that, and it's
can fight the lions
and flight speed. It's got all that stuff going for it. But but seriously, they complement each other. Whereas heterosis is the dynamic burst of genetics you get when you cross dissimilar animals. Hence the idea of a terminal sire on F1 type female is then, and you take all the calves, then you've then gained 100% of the available hybrid vigor. That's the reason for doing
you
it.
Get like you benefit from both worlds, from both sides of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we cover the commercial and the communal. And what should someone who wants to start breeding, whether in the region and they're looking at Charolais, how should they be approaching their strategy around Charolais and coming to you? How should they look at that?
The last while we've been very fortunate. We've got a couple of guys. Tebis.
I know Tebis.
He's now registering his herd.
Yeah.
And another guy, Peace Buffalezzi from up north, up in Palapi, he's registering, and I believe that Momedi Khabana, I think he's also registering, which means the herd is growing. It's not just Clive anymore. It's going to be a few. It's going to be a few of us, which is great. Yeah. Which is marvelous. If we can grow the base,
it is, absolutely.
We can grow the base in Botswana.
Yeah, you can retire nicely saying, it's all over there.
Which is really good. If we can get the base growing in Botswana, it's really good. And I say once they register, then people can go to these other guys who also get registered cattle, not just from Clive, as it were, but the breed in this case, or any breed actually, a guy who wants to go into stud breeding, when people say there's a saying there, the best breed for you is the one you like the most. And the reason they say that is because obviously if you really enjoy something, you like something, you're going to put the maximum amount of effort into it. 100%. And it really, really is an awful lot of effort if you're going to do this job properly. If you're not committed, don't do it. Just stay commercial. If you're really not committed to putting in the hard yards, just stay commercial. You're doing fine. You're making a good living maybe, then just stay commercial. Don't see Clive selling a bull for 500 grand and think that it's a walk in the park. It absolutely isn't.
2 years, yeah.
Absolutely isn't. It's very, very difficult and time consuming, and it's money, and it takes an awful lot to get it to that level. So it's nice obviously to be singled out and people to aspire to be like that, but I wouldn't want people to think that it's that certain or that easy to do that kind of thing. It just isn't. It takes an awful lot of time and effort and planning and ruined weekends, and it's just a whole lot. You can ask my wife about this. She'll tell you for a fact for years how many times there was a particular cow calving and I couldn't go and things like that. It's just how it was, how it is, But it's extremely rewarding. But if you're going to start it, be very, very sure of the fact that it's going to be an awful lot of work. And an awful lot of disappointment as well along the way, but hugely rewarding if you come out the other side and you're successful with it.
You remind me, because we bought this really top limo, we do start limos.
Yes.
And just to add to what you're saying, at some stage we're running the Cimental and the limo start at the same time with two associations. Yeah, no, like you said, you got to make your choice.
Yeah,
we had to decide. No. Well, I said which one is my favorite, and I chose the limo and focus on the limo.
If it's your favorite,
and focus and work with association.
You'll be good with it. Yeah.
And then in terms of disappointment, and then you have this top bull. We had a bull called Socrates, very good bull. And then you almost like expect every calf to come really super. And then all of a sudden I get the judge, and you get this calf, and it's like this is no bull at all. It's like, but the mother is awesome.
Well, that's what happened to me.
The size is awesome. What the hell happened with the genetics?
That's what happened to me in the Brahmins. So, absolutely that. They're better than I am, I can assure you. They're way better than Clive. Brahmin cattle.
Yeah. But you're right. It's hard work, and I think more and more farmers are joining, as you said, in terms of studbreeds, joining the associations. Look, my wish is that actually in Botswana, you don't have to start new associations. We should just normalize the regional ones, and then we just work with same platforms because, like you said, it's expensive to start this thing from scratch. Getting people together, it's a lot of hard work, and if we can do that.
And I can tell you, some of the breeds, I mean, even especially the Charolais, say in South Africa, they welcome, I'm sure, the new breeders. It's more income, etc. So,
absolutely, that's my experience with the Limos. Very supportive. Jan, he's here. He's the president of the association from a Botswana perspective, and it's working like wonders. One thing that I from a start in communal, and this will come painful from your heart, is what is the thing to watch about a Charolais cattle in terms of the negatives, the struggles of the environment? I'm saying this because I've had guys come and looked at nice heifers and they will put them communal area and they come back, tell me bad news, like, guys.
Look, the Charolais,
in terms of care, would you agree that they need a little bit more care compared to your Brahman or your Bansmara or that type
without
of
a doubt. Remember, you're looking at a different size of animal generally, and that's what I say in its correct position. It performs brilliantly well.
But you got to be strategic what you use it for.
Absolutely,
which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. They just say, I love these little white heifers. Just give them to me, and they take their pension money.
That's also
and
fine.
About 50, and they throw it in the communal area, and then the next thing, the mortalities are very high. Because they compared to like you said, the sharper, mobile Brahman. Also during droughts, obviously, the Brahman will probably have a higher success rate.
Listen, the Charolais is actually a much tougher animal than people give it credit for.
Please, talk to us.
Much harder. No, I mean...
They come from the dry areas of France, am I right?
You are massive in the central, yeah. But, the thing is, France is green anyway, so I wouldn't sell that one. I'm not that smart. But, no, the crossbred Charolais, on a Brahman, is a tough animal. The Charolais animal is a tough animal.
Yeah.
So, first generation, you're looking at pure cattle, yes, you will have to look after them. There's no question about that. But the second generation on a Brahman, they're a tough animal. In the drought as well, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. But they are a larger framed animal, which is going to need a higher maintenance requirement. Yes, that's a fact. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So. I've had a guy in a communal in our Barolong area. During are really, and in communal, things can be really bad. And he says, because they had to feed them. At one time, he came late to feed them, and they were just there by the kitchen. And he said they can almost hear that people are at home, and they'll actually come into the yard to look for food.
Any animal will do that, though, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right, let's raise the discussion a little bit higher at the struggles with Botswana cattle population and the environment, the climate issues, and that type of thing within the context of a breed. And here I'm talking generically. What would you say can be done to just reverse this as a cattle farmer for so many years in Botswana? What are your thoughts about what can be done to address this thing that seems to be elusive?
I think Rudy touched upon it, if I remember rightly, in the last podcast. When he spoke of the veldt and the bush encroachment. I'm not very positive, I must be honest with you. I'm not very positive that the herd in this current structure has the ability to get back to 4 million cattle. I don't think it can. I think the communal grazing, in my time here, 32 years, I've noticed visually how the veldt has changed. The maintenance requirement for a cow to get from the borehole to the grazing and back to the water and then back again to the grazing, in some places is so high, the nutritional requirement, that it will suppress fertility. There's no doubt about it. It's going to suppress fertility. And in that environment, I don't know how we're going to get back there without significant policy change in that, the only way I can see it getting back to those kind of numbers is to put in a lot of fence farms, drill a lot of boreholes and kill a lot of bush. And that I sound like doom and gloom, but it's just a visual appraisal. I think there needs to be some work done by the clever people to see if this is the case. I mean, I'm just saying from what I see.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I go buying cattle in areas.
Yes, because you go around.
30 odd years ago. You know, you could see the truck coming. You know, at breakfast time, you could see the truck coming. It was coming kilometers. Now you can't see out of the buying point. You can't see any distance at all. It's bush. I think another kicker, another thing which I've noticed, and you would have noticed it as well, is the dramatic increase in the interest in small stock.
Yeah.
I believe that's because a lot of the time the only animal that can really reproduce around a village is a goat.
It's a goat, yeah.
And I think that's why the proliferation of the small stock sector seems to be gaining momentum. I think it's because of opportunity in that the cattle can no longer do it at some places. And it's a great shame.
It's been cleaned up, yeah.
Well, it's just encroached, you know, and the grazing has been walked out, you know, where the cattle are walking backwards and forwards in a lot of places. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places. But I think the clever guys need to have a look at this and see if this actually is the case. I'm just going on what I see, you know, what I see. You know, I think on a different tack, I think the interference in the commercial drivers of the national herd are also an issue. There's no doubt about it. I always say a national herd is like an oil tanker. You know, once it sets its course, it's very, very difficult and slow to turn it because you're working with an organic product, right? It's a genetic product, biological product. It's not something you can change overnight. You know, only in the last 6 months, okay, 8 months, we've had two devastating events, as it were. You know, we've had the closure of the borders. Okay, now put yourself in the shoes of a guy. Let's say he's living in Ukunzi. He's got 10 cows. He's been used to having zero marketing costs, nothing. He would walk his cattle to the buying point.
That's it.
He would sell 160, 180 kilogram calf for 20, 22 puller. No marketing costs. And that calf's then taken to a central point, sorted and exported. Okay, overnight, that same calf, if you go there today and you go to look at that same 160, 180 kilogram calf, it's worth $12. Why? Because opportunity has been cut off. So what does that guy do now for the next 12 months? He can either sell them for $12 a kilo, or he's going to hold them for a year to make them worth $20 a kilo. Right? What's he going to live off in the meantime?
Cash flow.
He's going to slaughter the cows. He's going to slaughter the cows. And then the BMC, dropping the kilograms to 145 CDM, you can get 51 puller a kilo for an old cow. Or not for an old cow, sorry, you can't for an old cow, but you can get 51 puller a kilo for lightweight animals. You're going to see the cow herd going through the building. You're going to see it. And that's, if you're trying to build a national herd, those are a couple of things you don't do.
Yeah, those are fundamental.
At the same time, we've had a devaluation, which has increased the operating costs of the guys who purchase the cattle.
Yeah.
So in a model where you have no way of moving the purchase price, your market price, you're a price taker at the BMC or local market, you're a price taker, your feed has gone up. Feed has gone up, your overheads have gone up significantly.
Everything, yeah.
So where do you cut? The only thing you can cut is on the price of the raw material. That's the only thing you can do, and that's the weaner calf. So, you know, I feel for the small guys. I truly do. I can see that over 5 years they've moved the herd in a certain direction, only to be told, no, that's no longer available. You're now going to move it back this way. And these stop-starts in a biological product like a cattle industry are affecting the number of animals that are kept, without a doubt.
Uncertainty, isn't it? That you don't know where things are going.
Well, you know, the thing is, the guys that purchase cattle in this country on a daily basis, purchasing cattle, feeding cattle, delivering cattle, they will expand if there's opportunity, and they will contract if there's not. If you've got three avenues of market, you've got Botswana Meat Commission, you have got local market, you've got live export, you've got three. Okay? All of a sudden, you've only got two. Okay? So if you are a businessman in that position, what do you do? What do you do? So we've had issues in the past with Botswana BMC's liquidity. Liquidity. Local market.
These are the butcheries and so on. And
once there's a liquidity issue at BMC, local market pays what it wants to pay because it's got cash. So if you're a businessman, you've got to think really seriously about what do you do. Do you contract and damage limitation? A lot of people do. As soon as the people that purchase cattle in this country contract, there's a drop in competition, there's a drop in demand, there's a drop in price. Those three things are a given. A national herd and a cattle producer behaves in predictable ways every single time. And I don't know when we're going to understand this, that as soon as you cut off opportunity, the price of cattle in the country inevitably goes down. And you start to get herd destruction again. We've just come through a terrible, terrible drought. You know, we should be looking at building up our herd. Building up a herd.
And incentives to build a herd.
Of course. You know, the 6x6 model. You know, I've always said the 6x6 model is wonderful. People got farms, but I think you know as well as I do that farming on 6x6 is not the easiest thing in the world.
I know. I had one in Sandveld,
But if you can, the model that we have, which is the flying herd model, it does a couple of things. What it does is it makes that guy extremely efficient because he never carries a heifer. He only carries cows, right? That's the number one. Number two, it then creates a demand for our female cattle in the country. One of the biggest issues, one of the biggest disappointments I find is when I'm offered batches of heifers for slaughter. To feed and slaughter. Excellent breeding stock. If we could get the guys, Cedar and the guys, we can get them aligned to a program whereby they give out the finance for the cattle on the basis that you farm in this manner. Because that model, I believe, is saleable. I believe that is bankable, that model. You know, you link them then with seed stock producers who produce really good breeding stock, like Radmar and the guys in the Molopo, etc. So the fence farm guys who are continually selling heifers.
Lots of hundreds of them,
If you can link this model with that opportunity and divert those heifers into the sector, into the beef sector, rather than killing them on a continual basis, you create demand for the female at a price which is above that of the slaughter value. Then you get a flow of cattle of good genetics into your 6x6s, which have been sponsored and given out by Cedar and the rest of the guys. And you've got a bankable model which will then return. And you link those guys up with obviously the feedlots who will want those calves because they're terminal calves and they'll want them all. And also they're by Charolais bulls.
Importantly.
No. I'm just throwing that one out there. But they can breed what they like. But I'm just saying, as a model, it starts to put linkages into the system. You know, put linkages in. The problem is we're too broken and fragmented in the beef sector. We've got to try and develop the linkages. Because that way you get a healthy beef sector. Yeah.
Sure. Very complex, isn't it? Very complex, but within a very small herd population. What I'm saying is it's not actually a very complicated.
No, it's not.
It's not a very complicated system.
It's not. You know, the thing is, we've always had the 80-20 split, communal. I mean, the communal producer is the cattle producer of Botswana. He owns the national herd. He does. End of story. But if we can get the linkages going, where they've got the new entry, the new guy on the 6x6, who can benefit significantly from the buying females from the female producers who are well-established for years, well-established farms for years. If they can link those two up and then this model, this 6x6 model, link them up with the feeders, et cetera, to buy those calves. You know, there'll be terminal calves, whether using limb or Charolais or Simmental or whatever it is, doesn't matter, Brahma, doesn't matter. You link them up with feeders, you get top price for the calves because they're the ideal calf. Those guys can pay their loans, they can then purchase their breeding stock, and the whole thing gets more dynamic. Yeah, gets more dynamic. But again, it's about opportunity. If the opportunity is there, people run towards it.
Yeah.
National herd always behaves in a predictable manner.
Yeah.
As soon as you lose opportunity, it also behaves in a predictable manner.
They just
go contract.
Yeah, a contract.
That's how it is.
You said the clever guy should put it all together. You just did the clever guy stuff.
No.
But seriously, we need these type of solutions, Clive, because I'm just as pessimistic as you, unfortunately, and I've told the authorities at the ministry to say if we don't do these specific fundamentals, the talking will carry on, but the reversal will keep. With the droughts, with the lack of incentives, as you said, the prices, the numbers could easily drop way below the million that it is. It can get worse.
I think, if you look at Ngamiland in isolation, which you have to because it's a red zone.
It's a special, yeah.
Okay. Ngamiland, when I was at BMC, when we started the live trade into Bulawayo, out of Ngamiland, there was 440,000 cattle in Ngamiland. I was speaking to the ministry the other day, and they said there's now 270,000 cattle. Wow. Now, you have 3 abattoirs in Ngamiland, one BMC and 2 commercial abattoirs. On an oxen production system, and remember it's an isolated system.
Yeah.
Oxen production system, the maximum offtake you're going to get is 9%. 9% on 270,000.
So 10%, yeah.
No, you're looking at 20,000 cattle. 20,000 cattle, let's say, just over. Those 3 abattoirs slaughter more than 20,000 cattle, right? You've got a reduction in CDM. CDM's crashing in Ngamiland, right? So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to run out of cattle.
Absolutely.
They're going to run out of cattle. And that would be a tragedy.
It will be.
So these kind of things. And why is it going to run out of cattle? The reason it's going to run out of cattle is because nobody's going to put a feedlot up in Ngamiland until such time as you are guaranteed that your investment is safe and that they won't come in and slaughter all your cattle if there's an FMD outbreak in your feedlot. That kind of thing. You've got to turn that herd, into a weaner feedlot operation and make 270 breeding cows, 270,000 breeding cows producing calves. If you don't do that, you're going to run out of cattle. Why is the CDM dropping like a stone? Because they're slaughtering faster and faster and faster to keep the wheel turning. These are demographic decisions that have to be addressed and have to be looked at. And I just feel people are missing the ball a lot.
No, it's true. It baffles me because, the talk is bigger than the action. As we said, the grasses are disappearing, the bushes are coming up, the calving rates are all over the show, and with the president going public that in 5 years' time he wants 5 million. That's a big bold statement, and the stuff has to start now to start the reversal. And I really believe that it has to be incentive, like I said, long-term incentives, because the incentives affect behavior. When for the next 5-10 years things are like this, then you put the investment. People can put their pension or whatever into those schemes.
Listen, I'm passionate about this sector. I always have been. And to watch it go through what it's going through is painful.
It's destructive.
It's painful. When you see guys start to run in one direction, only to be told, no, they were wrong, and they've got to go now in this direction. and they've got to now turn an entire herd in a different direction continually. This happens every couple of years. This kind of thing keeps coming out. And no, you got to go this way. You got to go that way.
You think export is a good idea? You think export is a good idea?
I think quota-based export is a good idea. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Number one reason, is it primarily because of
try and get this wiener price
It's a market. It's a market.
Yeah, try and get the wiener price up. Yes, of course. Of course. First prize would be to have a BMC that pays market-related prices. Okay? At the moment, we're 10% below Namibia and 10% below South Africa. Yet we have the same market access as Namibia. Why? If we were at $56, all of a sudden your wiener price increases. Why? Because opportunity increases, competition increases, demand increases. It's supply and demand. It's basic stuff. You know this better than me. Yeah. You know it better than me. But it's basic herd dynamics.
Yeah. Clive, we're coming to an end, and I just wanted what are you looking forward to now in the future? What's exciting apart from the stuff we just rapped about?
No,
what's the light? Where's the light?
I'm excited to see how the young Charolais breeders in the country start to develop. Okay. I'm excited about that. I want to try and help them as much as I can.
Okay.
And the stud sector in general, whatever breed. And as I said to you before, I've got appreciation of all breeds of cattle. Yeah. They all were developed for a specific job. And in that specific job, they all do it very, very well. And there's some guys in the country who are so enthusiastic and so wanting to produce the best quality breeding stock for Botswana and hopefully regionally as well. I'd like to see the further development of the export market, because I think it's in everybody's benefit. If you're exporting a couple of bulls a year, it means you're putting that genetics into the national herd as well with their brothers and sisters, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
So the cream of the crop, of course. If it's who's got the most bucks and it has to go export, it goes export. But that genetic is being put in not just by us; it's being put in by a lot of guys of different breeds. And this is really, really encouraging. It really is encouraging to see that. And that's what I'm excited about. And I'm excited if the guys can latch onto these models that make economic sense, then I think we've got a chance. I do. If we can get the 6x6s and more 6x6s given out with good production programs that are bankable, that make sense.
Financial sense, commercial sense.
Then I think we've got a crack at it, I think we've got a crack at it. And I'll be looking at that. I will be. But
Good to see you smile again. Down a positive light. Thank you so much, Clive.
I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, that's been great. And thanks so much. And all the best with all your efforts and with all the coming here and sharing, especially as you said, with the upcoming stud breeders and all that. It's that's time. I know time is very valuable for any farmer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I appreciate it, Clive.
Thank you very much indeed, and thanks for having me.
Great. Guys, there we go. We have the champion of the Charolais breeds in Botswana and Southern Africa, really, sharing all these insights with yourself, and I hope you picked up stuff. So all the best, and please keep sharing, keep subscribing, so that we bring you more and more these type of discussions. See ya. Thank you.